Hello everyone, my name is Veritas and welcome back to Destiny. Now today is Friday, it's late Friday because I forgot this was a thing. The Zer's here somewhere in the tower and let's go ahead and find out where exactly he is residing, all tentacled and mysterious as hell. I think he's down by the Vanguard specifically, so let's go ahead and head down there and see what he may or may not be possessing this week, and I'll give you guys some recommendations. There he is, our friend, our good old pal, Zer. Alright, Zer, what do you got for us? I forgot you existed this weekend. I'm sorry. I was busy screaming and Outlast. So, let's see what happens here. Alright. It looks like we have a Legacy Engram heavy weapon. This will turn into a Year 1 heavy weapon, so max light there is 170. If you're missing something from the old days, like Super Good Advice, Yaller Horn, things along those lines, you can get it from this engram if you so choose to do so. Moving over to the Titan exotic this week, we have the Twilight Garrison. Hitting BB while airborne causes you to evade, so it's pretty neat. It now works with shaders, that's pretty nice. The stat roll on this is 95%. Not great. I recommend this for PvPers. A lot of the time PvPers will like to use this as another means of movement while they are running around in trials, so go ahead and pick this up. It's more of like a use it as you want to kind of thing, nothing super specific there, but a good chess piece in general if you like what it does. Alright, moving over to the Hunter exotic this week, we have the Don't Touch Me's. Taking damage from a melee attack will make you briefly invisible. These have been around for a long time, since year 1, when Crota was a thing that was relevant. It might be a little bit relevant now, but people aren't using these for the, Abyss anymore. Basically, getting meleeed by anything, hit by anything, Crucible PvE, regardless, will turn you invisible for a short time. Pretty useless gauntlets in terms of what they actually do and how, that they take up an exotic slot to do that. 87% stat roll here, so really stay away from these this week unless you absolutely want them. Decent perks, kind of, maybe. It just comes down to if you want them for collections or not. I wouldn't recommend picking them up. Definitely go ahead and skip those this week. But moving over into the Warlock exotic, unfortunately I have to recommend this one because I love this chest piece and all Voidwalkers should at least have one of these in their vault. The Voidfang Vestment is a Warlock chest piece. This thing has Intellect and Discipline on it. It has a 93% stat roll, so not terrible, but not perfect. There are better rolls out there for you to get, obviously, because 100% is the number one. That's the maximum. That's perfect. This is 93%, but what this thing does, I'll go into detail because this one's actually... I really recommend this one for Voidwalkers. It looks gorgeous, by the way. So why is the Voidfang Vestment so worth your time? Well, let me tell you about the Hungering Void. So the Hungering Void, this is the exotic perk for this chest piece. Spawn with full grenade energy, and your Axiom Bolt grenade spawns an additional Seeker. Axiom Bolts work a lot like Arc Bolts and Firebolt grenades, where they scan an area and then shoot out an elemental beam that hits the thing in that area. The fun thing about Axiom Bolts is they're not just beams of void energy like Firebolts or Arc Bolts are. They're actually little seekers. They're little homing grenades that trace after enemies for a good amount of time, actually, kind of like skip grenades a little bit. So these things are pretty neat. You get 2 of them default, but with this chest piece you get 3, so you can scan an area and spawn up to 3 of those seekers that do a lot of damage in PvP, and they're actually pretty useful for PvE as well. I love this chest piece. I'm going to keep saying it's good. Pick it up if you don't have it. Increase Intellect and Discipline. This chest piece will always have Discipline as it's grenade-based. It has grenade abilities on it. It'll be that always. Moving over here, we have Hand Cannon ammo and Fusion Rifle ammo. So not great on these middle perks, but, some people like Hand Cannons and Fusion Rifles. I personally don't really care for either of those for ammo. Arc Burn Defense and Void Armor. Now, if this was Void Burn Defense, I would say this is a must-buy this week just because you're probably going to use something Void-based when it's a Void week, and you're going to want Void Protection. With Arc Burn Defense on this, it's kind of doesn't really make sense, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't really say it's super useful. The Void Armor is also not that great either, so I don't really recommend picking that up on that case. But if you don't have one, it's still a good chest piece to grab. You're not going to find anything, it's a neat chest piece. I like it. I recommend it. Just don't buy it, because I like being special when I use it. And he also has the Might of Multi-Tool this week. It looks like he's just selling my entire fucking inventory. So the Might of Multi-Tool is a scout rifle. Wonderful scout rifle. Great friend of mine. So this thing, kinetic damage, no element there. Third eye, so your radar is always active when you're aiming down sights. And Might of Multi-Tool, you gain a movement speed bonus, and you fire on a hair trigger, which means this thing doesn't require a full trigger pull to shoot, and you're pretty much always moving faster when you have it equipped. So when you go to your secondary, you're going to move a little bit normal speed. Go to your primary, and you're running around like a bat out of hell, basically. It's a great scout rifle. I love it. Both of these previews for the what are they called? Ornaments. Both ornaments are pretty good. I prefer the Arctic Survivalist because the color it makes, the lights. I don't really care for the green that the Spec Ops gives it, but that's everyone has their own personal touch. If you're gonna run this thing like I run mine, I would go with Smart Drift Control, Third Eye. I like to run with Lightweight just to have that extra agility, and then Mud and Multi-Tool, as well as Arctic Survivalist if you want to be just like me, shoot like me, walk, talk, and use a Mida like me, fun stuff like that. I don't know if I can say those kind of things. Anyway, moving down to the weapon bundles this week, we have the Monte Carlo and Royal Flush, as well as the Zealous Supercell and Shock Hazard. It's nice that they're not selling the Zealous Supercell with the toy gun or whatever the garbage other ornament is for this one. But both the Monte Carlo ornaments are actually pretty nice. If you like the Monte Carlo or you like the Zalo Supercell and you don't have them yet, I recommend picking these up because they both have ornaments that go with them quite nicely, especially Zalo Supercell. I recommend picking up a Zalo whenever he sells it, regardless of how he's selling it, because of how useful it is for arc burn weeks and things like that. So pick these up if you want them. Very useful weapons, both primary auto rifles. Very nice. Zalo Supercell is arc damage. Pick it up if you don't have one. Shock Hazard's a really good, ornament for that if you so choose to want that. Moving down to cures this week, we have the Plasma Drive and the Void Drive. These can be used to upgrade rare quality sparrows. They can be purchased from the Vanguard and Crucible Quartermasters for 175 legendary marks each. They can be used to upgrade those into legendary quality sparrows with a blue or purple trail respectively. That's a mouthful. Super fun though. 3 for 1 and 10 for 3 over here on the ammo synthesis. As always, I always recommend buying 10 for 3 as it's technically cheaper. These can be used to replenish heavy ammo instantaneously in the battlefield, not the Crucible. They can also be used to trade into factions for faction reputation, giving you ultimately faction packages. Those drop up to 400 light, so use these if you want to grind some faction rank. 3 of coins, stackable effect. Let me explain what that means. If you're going to do strikes or PvP, these work either way. Ultras, killed, or Crucible match completions. Basically, use one, go through a strike, or go through a Crucible game. By the end of it, you'll have the full thing. When it ends, you'll either get an engram or you won't. If you don't get one, the next one you use will have a greater chance of giving you an engram. So for Crucible matches, just use one, go through the match. If you don't get one, use another one, go through the match. As you do that, you get a better chance of the next one you use to give you an engram. Same thing for strikes. Just keep using one at the end of every strike. Eventually, you'll get an exotic engram to drop. Sometimes you even get 2. So fun stuff there. Glass needles are a very endgame item. I don't recommend these unless you have nothing else to spend your stuff on. But these can be used to reroll exotic armors. So if you really, really want the Don't Touch Me's, you can go ahead and buy them and then go ahead and twist the fate. It will reroll them. It'll change where the stats are, what the stats percentages are. It'll also change the perks around. Be mindful that not everything can have everything. And some stuff can only have certain things. So things like the Void Fang Vestment will always have discipline because it's a grenade-based exotic chest piece, so don't expect to get this intellect and strength because it's impossible to have that happen. So just be mindful of that when you're rerolling armors. Moving down to Material Exchange, Mode of Light, worst conversion rate in the game, never use it. But moving over here to the exotic shard, I'll show you how to duplicate these right now actually because he was very close to where we need to go for that. So if you need more than one exotic shard and you feel like you don't want to spend 7 strange coins every time you want one, head over here to the exotic weapon blueprint kiosk, head over to collection 2 and pick yourself up a Truth Rocket, Nemesis Star, anything like that really works. I don't believe that the Sleeper Simulant or the swords work, so just stay with a rocket launcher or machine gun. It's best to go with what works and not, test the, don't poke the hand. Don't slap the hand or bite the hand or whatever the thing that it feeds you. So what you're going to do once you have that rocket launcher equipped down here, you can either use a class item that has increased upgrade rate for rocket launchers, or go to your inventory and use a heavy telemetry. These can be purchased for 250 glimmer at the gunsmith. So they're very cheap. One or the other, either or will work. Now, if you had the Radiant Light buff from the Nightfall, this would take roughly 5 motes of light. Without it, it takes 6. So we're getting low on the old motes of light here. I got to be really careful about not to waste these motes of light. So here we are. I think that was 6. I hope. This thing is full of experience. No need to click on any of this stuff. No need to spend any more glimmer or materials than you already have. That's fully full of experience. Go ahead, take it off, dismantle it. So now your 1 exotic shard that you bought for 7 strange coins will turn into 2 exotic shards, some motes, weapon parts, and glimmer back for you there as well. It's a much cheaper alternative than buying them all from Xur. If you're short on exotic shards, that's the cheapest way technically to do it. Is just duplicate them with the weapon kiosk. So have fun with that if you so choose to use that method. Like I said, I recommend pretty much nothing he's selling this week. Take a gander at his inventory one more time. Overall, it's not a great week for buying things. The stat rolls are pretty low. Twilight Garrison, if you don't have one, you want one. Don't Touch Me if you need it for your collection. Void Fang, a must-buy, in my opinion, because I love it so much. So good for Voidwalkers. Might Multi-Tool, great scout rifle. Recommend it every time. The weapon bundles, Monte Carlo is pretty fun, but it's kind of useless overall. Whereas the Zalo Supercell is always useful when Arc burns around. Very nice primary. I recommend picking that up as well. So pretty much the Zalo, the Void Fang, and the Mida, if you want to be like me, play the game like me, walk, talk, and act like, or whatever. I need to stop doing that. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. He's down there by the Vanguard like I showed you, and that's going to be pretty much it. I'll see you guys on Tuesday for the weekly reset video. If you're curious about other things that I'm doing solo and co-op series and a number of games. Links to those in the description. As always, Twitter and Twitch links down there as well if you want to follow me on those sites too. And that's going to be it for me. I'll see you on Tuesday for weekly reset. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, I very much appreciate it. And as always, until next time.